John Davis, absolutely one of the best.
John Davis True Crime.
John Davis True Crime.
John Davis doing what true crimers do.
John Davis True Crime.
John Davis.
John Davis True Crime.
Mr. John Davis. John Davis True Crime.
John Davis True Crime.
This guy John Davis.
John Davis True Crime.
John Davis True Crime. Maybe that's where I've heard that name before.
John Davis True Crime.
John Davis, and it's good to see you, John. How are you?
John Davis True Crime.
John Davis True.
Hey, John Davis.
John Davis.
John Davis True Crime.
John Davis True Crime kicks butt.
Tune in and watch John Davis True Crime. You will love it. It's one of the best channels on YouTube. Tune in. It's John Davis True Crime.
Good morning. Happy May 20th, 2024. How's everybody doing this morning? How's everybody's weekend? Mine, stressful. Taking cold showers at the Davis household. Everybody's on edge, irritable. Hot water defect. We got to replace it today after the show. I may not be here tomorrow. We're talking, you need a master plumber and an electrician for this job. We got me. So I feel good about it though. It should be fairly straight up. It's just basically unhooking the one and hooking up a new one. At the end of the day, there's not that much to it.
And then the cost. It's a lot.
And see, we're kind of torn. Have y'all heard of these? They're called tankless water heaters. So you may have one of those. I didn't even know they existed until this happened. I asked my uncle. He's like, what? Tankless? Tankless water? I don't know shit about them. I was like, wow. I can't find reviews either on none of that. Nobody's heard of it. Anybody heard of it? Tankless water heaters. I'm not getting no feedback here. Anyway, I don't know. I'm wavering back to we need to go just get the same thing we had. What do you think? What do you think, Mama?
Well, the tankless ones, your water stays warm all the time. You don't run out.
See, they say the tankless ones. The thing is, like, you can keep hot water as long as it's one thing at a time. Like, you can't wash dishes while somebody's in the shower, or you can't do this or that.
Yeah,
so
that would be fine for us.
We can schedule around where we only need hot water one person at a time. We can do it.
Because we only have one bath. Well, two.
One and a half. I don't know. We're going to see how it works out. Tankless water heater heats the water on demand. It doesn't continuously keep the water hot in the tank. You are correct, Tina.
And it takes less space.
Yeah, it takes less space. Like this thing, man, it's the size of like a shoe box about. A little bigger than a shoe box.
Yeah.
Some's about the size or smaller. Actually, a bird just flew into my window. Oh, Jesse, I'm sorry. You know that's bad luck, right? Did y'all ever hear that?
Yeah.
I heard, and they swear to this in my family, that if you touch a bird inside the house,
yeah, I heard that.
You'll be the next to go. And they swear it happened in our family. That's the story I heard. They are supposed to save you money.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's why I'm looking to get one. They say 60% on your electric bill.
Wow.
It saves you like 60%.
60% cheaper than before. You gotta save where you can. I just don't know. I never heard of one. That's why I'm just skeptical that these things ain't more popular.
There might be newer.
Hell, get you one of them no tanks, man. I got me one back at the crib. That thing is sweet. That water is hot. I've never heard of it though. Anyway, moving on. For me, the weekend headline was, how do you pick Trev to go off on out of all the people out there that probably deserved it much, much, much more? The shocking reaction Seth had to Trev was ridiculous. That was uncalled for. I get, I get his son's missing, but come on, you going to go off on and Trev's young. I'm not sure of Trev's exact age. I know Trev's young. And that just, I swear it felt like billion to me. I'm sorry. And I think it was some straight bullshit. I like Trev. Out of all the people I've met on my time on YouTube, he's probably one of the best ones morally. I can honestly feel Eddie saying that. He is a good dude. He puts in the work. He don't just talk shit. He actually does stuff. It's really crazy. Trev certified, okay? He's got certificates in helping children and stuff. Don't pick him out of all the other people that you could be angry at to go off on. And the part where he's like, where you at? Come fine. I don't know. It was when he was really going off. I was just like, this is it. It's mind-boggling what you're watching. Live. I seen somebody else, and they're like, and Tony was filming that. What? Your PR guy is filming you bullying one of the people with the best reputation in the true crime community that you seem to be dying to be a part of. Because you're out there, bro. You are out there. You're on YouTube more than me, I'll tell you that. Just saying, I don't know. It was total bullshit, though. Don't be threatening. Did I go out for a minute? Seth knew Josh was going to release the call. In my opinion, Tony released that call. Nah. I tell you what, in the chain of custody of that call tells you all you need to know. If you didn't want it out there, it wouldn't have been out there. Don't blame all that on, don't put that on Trev and jump on him like you did. That was ridiculous. And it kills me that the Find Sebastian Rogers, there's a Facebook group, and they either don't mention none of that, or if it's brought up, they got all the comments turned off. It's wild how people spin stuff. There's no excuse for that bullshit. I'm with you, Jay Brad. I mean, come on. And how it ends up being Trev that you end up going off on. That's what it blew my mind the most. You've been on panel with Chris before. I ain't never seen you talk to him that way. I'm sorry, man. That was some bullshit. I'm going to say it. I'll say it over and over again. Call it right here. Don't that nonsense. Well, I mean, I think, well, if you know Trev ain't probably going to get into a I'm going to beat your ass screaming match. You know? Because, I mean, he's had chances at Proudfoot, and I ain't never seen him talk to Proudfoot like that. If I was going to direct some of my anger, that's where it'd be going. Trev was even acting as a go-between for early search too. Yes. Trev to help the Sebastian cause. I know about it as well as I do because of Trev. That's where I started, was checking out Trev's stuff. Trev was there for Seth, searching, praying with Seth, printing and posting flyers. Trev was an easy target, in my opinion. Yeah. Yeah. You hearing Trev is only trying to find Sebastian and keep his name out there. Trev is a good person. You are exactly right. Welcome. I can't, I don't know, man. It's wild to me how this thing is playing out. You know, I feel like it's almost at a point they're trying to out dramatize the Summer Wells case. I have a feeling Donna Candace is going to get jealous soon and be like, hold my beer, and pull something wild for attention. You know? I tell you that, man, I like to be a positive thinker. Maybe that tip's coming. You know? Maybe somewhere right now, somebody's wrestling with their conscience on what's going on, how long Sebastian's been missing, and maybe, boom, they're going to break today. Smiley was definitely set up for that live, and I believe Mr. Peanut is who set her up, even though he says different. Go figure. You think Peanut's behind that shit? Possible. I don't know. Here's some of the. I rate these my news of the weekend. This was if they would do a press conference or communicate with the father, we wouldn't have to rely on local citizens off the streets to pressure for information. Nobody's lying about anything. Misunderstanding and walkbacks are much more likely. Hey, Nick, instead of throwing shade at a citizen from your community trying to help, why don't you tell the SCSO that the community and the father want and deserve answers? This case is over their heads and they truly have no leads, and have them elevated. You being disrespectful to a volunteer trying to get answers to tell a story in and of itself. That was Tony's statement. He says, Nick, hey Nick, instead of throwing shade, right? All Nick done was Nick put a article, and I didn't see anywhere in the article where he disparaged anybody. He knocked out some rumors. Okay? He's the reason we know all that was bullshit. Because a few days ago, what had happened was Tony told a few things that turned out not to be true. He said there was video of Sebastian, and it's on the 26th, and no. I guess that's what Tony was talking about with walkbacks. But all Nick done was come out and straighten it out, basically. You know, he cleared it up. Which part is this? Evidence showing Sebastian was in contact. Oh, yeah, this is one of them. They said he talked about to his grandma the night before, or something wild was one of them, too. And it says there is evidence showing Sebastian was in contact with his grandmother on his mother's side before he disappeared. Nope. How do I know? I've been in direct contact with the lead investigator with the Sumner County Sheriff's Office, who says this latest stuff is all garbage. Would they like to have new leads? You bet. And they respond to all tips, but they deal with facts, as do I. Do authorities tell us everything they have in the case file? No, but they won't lie and say something is a false if it isn't. They will simply say no comment. Hopefully there will be a credible break in the case soon. Until then, please be very skeptical of stunning new developments unless they come from a credible official source. Call tips to 1-800-TBI-FIND. That was part of what got Tony all in an uproar, right? Was the fact Nick cleared it up. Basically. He goes off about Nick not I don't know, guys. Looking at this, I don't. It's the oddest shit. I would never expect the PR guy is filming dude talking smack. Do we know that was the PR guy? I just have not believe. How is that? And an intelligent move. I'm so blown away by this. I don't see how you win on that at any level whatsoever. You know, all this over the weekend is wild. I seen this too. This was from one of Seth's detectives. I do not blame Katie. My last public interview, I said my most likely theory is he walked away from home. Please don't perpetuate drama. She was responding, I guess, to somebody saying that she blamed Katie. This new team member, Nina, they got to be joking, right? So is SWTH really just snatching up all the felons? Oh, Seth, I guess, was what they're going for. All the felons that reach out. This disturbs me. I watched her court hearing and WTF. So they're talking about this new people Seth surrounding him with. This is one of them. And, you know, I haven't background checked none of this, but I found where a lot of people talk about this lady like they know her. They said, but did she need a GoFundMe set up so they could $2,200 for her to fix her diesel truck and have diesel to get there? Like, who does that? I volunteer to come, but y'all need to fix my truck and pay for my gas. They were saying that Tony. Now, this is just what I heard. I'm sure y'all probably heard this too, but they were saying Tony was raising money for her to get her truck fixed so she could come up to search and stuff. I volunteered to come up, but you need to fix my truck and pay for my gas. That's kind of wild, you know. That's more or less charging for searching, right? I don't get that at all. All that's true, and there's a lot of that too. I tend to think it's true. They said whoever this new woman is that's joining the group, right? Let me see here. Yeah, here's part of something else I found about her. You can watch her entire hearing, they say, on Judge Stephanie Boyd's channel. She was convicted for assault with a deadly weapon for recklessly firing a gun at someone her teen daughter was arguing with about a boy, and the bullet went into an uninvolved person's apartment. She was reckless, and she could have killed one or more people. She was the main instigator of the argument. No one pulled a gun on her. They all knew the girl was coming over to confront her daughter. The adult thing to do would be to call the police. She's a felon now. What a poor excuse she is. They're saying all this about Seth's new team member. And there's a ton of it. And usually, you know, when there's that, where there's smoke, there's fire somewhere. You know? I don't know. I don't know. What do y'all think? Have y'all heard about this? Y'all up to date? Let's send this woman money to come search for a missing child. What the hell? I don't know, man. I thought it was wild. And all this was going on this weekend, man. It was just like, and all they kept saying was, I was looking around, a lot of people trying to defend Seth over the Trev thing, and I'm sorry, that was just uncalled for. I don't care who did it. And you shouldn't be acting like that. I like to keep that up, so that's why I disagree. You know, a lot of people say, oh, you know, shouldn't talk about this and that. Well, you know, if it gives you something to talk about when there's nothing new, right? Like I report the facts anytime we get something of evidentiary value. I make sure we all talk about it. But when you're not, as long as you're showing his picture and keeping it up, it's getting the case bigger. It's always good. It's always good, especially to have his face up there. Because hey, until you know, you don't know. And all the people, oh, you know, he's gone, but no, you don't. And until you do, that's what you want to be doing, looking for that face. But meanwhile, you can speculate on what's going on social media. This is how it works. If somebody decides to go on social media and talk and be on YouTube and all this, they open themselves up to evaluation like we all do. We all who decide to be on YouTube are open to being judged, being talked shit to, being disagreed with, all that. Okay? The fact that you have a missing son is not a reason that you do that and expect nobody to call you on your bullshit. And what he did with Trev was some bullshit. I'm sorry. Facts. Still feel exhausted from all the crap from Summers people. It's hard for me to keep up with all the BS and Sebastian's. Gets to be a lot, man. It really does. Does Nina have a last name? I don't know. I just know, like, it seems like a lot of people get this new person he's adding, Nina, confused with Proudfoot's ex-wife for some reason. I've seen a lot of people, and I've watched the argument develop and been thinking to myself, I think they're talking about the other one. And then I watch a couple more comments down, and they'll finally figure it out. They're two different people. I'm not sure whose name's what, to be honest. I can't keep it all that straight. I just know that the new team member is the one they're saying that was shooting into apartments and stuff. And as long as I ain't saying names, you know, they can't say that I slandered. Oh my. The crazy aftermath reminds me of the Samuel's case. I know, man, except this is wild because you, instead of like having the Wells against the neighbors or whoever, you got the parents against everybody and each other, you know? And it's, you know, Seth has got to be killing his followers doing the shit he's doing. I'm sorry. It's got to be hurting him. What's her real first name? I can't think of it. I don't know. I just know who's who and what they've been accused of, I guess. To be honest, I'm not that great with it, with the names. I just like knowing who they are, you know, what they're about, what their position in the role is. Yes, I wanted to bring this up too. my private and group conversations, I was presented one reason for being asked to step down. I was unwilling to work with individuals possibly being brought in, as I felt it could hinder my license and the integrity of the case. That was by one of the PIs that stepped down, okay? I'm wondering if she stepped down because of Tony or because of this new person that's coming in, you know? Because from what it sounds like to me is she stepped down because it could hurt the integrity of her license. So who is that? Is that Tony or is that the chick? Do we know for sure? Trevor is only a few years older than Sebastian. That's an excellent point. Eva Bjornson. Did I get that right? Welcome to the show. Yes, that's an excellent point if you think about it. I tell you what, I'm a hothead myself. If I feel like I've been wronged, I'm not going to act like I'm not. I'm not going to act like I wouldn't act like Seth. But I couldn't have done it to Trev. Trev's about how old is Trev? Does he may know exactly? I'm sure one of y'all know. One of y'all can tell me. I posted on Facebook, I can't remember what it was exactly, something about, you know, that was some bullshit, and Trev's like, thanks, man. Trev's a good dude. Messy Jesse gifted one John Davis True Crime membership. Thank you, Jesse. Jesse's at work right now, modding at the same time, killing it, crushing it. Go, girl. Then where was I at? I don't know. I forgot now. You are who I was hoping would get it. Sorry, Gene Jackson. Woo! Here's a membership. Is that who got one, Messy Jesse? Man, y'all, I apologize. My computer is running slow as hell today for some reason. 22. I thought he was actually younger than that, but that's still, man, it seemed like billion to me. Trevor is young enough to be his son. Yes, he is. Exactly. Good point. Maybe instead of point the finger at whomever, you make the case based on the facts without the drama and grifting a missing child's case. Case based on the facts. I remember 22, so Seth likes to pick on young guys. Why? He should have thought that through first. My biggest thing is, though, I'll be damned. How is it that Seth's gonna go off on somebody and he picks Trev? That's what I couldn't believe. When I seen that, I messaged Jesse over the weekend. I was like, did you hear the bullshit shit said to Trev? Ugh. How you gonna be like that with Trev? I don't know, man. It's just amazing to me. Because I'm looking at this thing from the outside. I don't know anybody great. But looking at it from where I'm sitting, I cannot believe he had that much of a blow up on Trev. When if I don't want something put out, I don't put it out. Okay? I question people that let stuff out if they don't want it out. That's all I'm saying. You know, I always question why. If it's something that I am not willing for it to be out, would I share it? And I don't understand that. I don't whatsoever. If it means that much to me, I'm not going to put it out there. And I feel like there was some shadiness in that anyway. I know that it wasn't just as simple as, you know, it was on Trev. So I damn sure can't understand that much aggression at all. Seth is in the grieving process, though. We can't forget that. He needs grace. Seth needs help. He needs. Seth is making horrible decisions and maybe should step back from YouTube a little bit. I think. Because, I mean, honestly, at this point, Seth is only hurting the cause, I think. I think he's turning people off when they see stuff like that. You know, you just can't do that. You know, that's where it's went too far to me. That, and then, you know, you add in the if you don't like it, you can F off and all that. He needs to stay off YouTube. And if Tony is steering the boat, which I thought that was what was going on, and he is okay in this, I am so confused on the strategy. Could somebody please explain the strategy to me? Because unless you can show me some strategy to where somehow this is going to pay off for them, they're hurting Sebastian's case. You know, I'm sorry. It's a fact. Whether you like him or not, okay, let's just agree on this. Whether you like Seth or not, him doing stuff like he is has turned people off to Sebastian's case. I would guarantee it. I would guarantee it. You know? And I get that he's going through the missing kid, right? I get that. But, you know, the reason I don't sit and rail on the Proudfoots is because I don't really know these people. And just like that, I don't really know Seth. You know, I know about, I hear he was with Katie super young with a big age gap. I know that. I know he seems really cocky and arrogant, and and like I don't know how to put it, short fused. That's kind of what I got off of this the thing with on Smileys. And you know, if you look back in Katie's divorce documents, you see she makes allegations like that, right? That he's blown up on the neighbor, this and that. That don't seem like a great dude to me. I feel for him. I have compassion for him. I hate for anybody to lose their child. But I'm not going to excuse behavior of talking like he did to Trev and act like that, because that's ridiculous. If you can't do any better than that, stay off social media. When he brings himself onto social media, he creates what we're talking about. At the end of the day, I wouldn't be talking about this if he wouldn't have done it. Okay? They're searching landfills. They must think the garbage men took him. you know, I don't know. I don't know in what context they thought the garbage man took them, but I'll tell you this: you don't search a landfill for no reason. Something made them want to search that landfill. You'll never convince me it was just cautionary or whatever. Or you can't tell me there wasn't reason for that. That's what creeps me out about all this. Okay, so you're telling me you searched the landfill and you didn't think it was a criminal matter, unless you're thinking that he hid in the trash can. How else could that have been an accident? Do y'all get what I'm saying? Because they're still not treating like this is if they're still not treating it like it's a crime. They're not investigating it as one. Right? That's the thing. You know, maybe, I don't know. See, I thought that before maybe Seth was being slick with the telling people, you know, he was working with Katie and Chris. I kept telling myself that's he's playing some kind of game. You know, he's gonna work with Katie and Chris and get some information or something like that. But then now that it's went the direction it has, that don't make sense. So what was the reasoning behind all that? Is that just who he is, you know? Because you keep adding all this together, it doesn't look great to me. They check dumpsters too. See, though, what's wild is, though, to me about the landfill thing is it was 10 days after he went missing. 10 days. That's weird to me. Is that what point something like that just comes up? 10 days, we go search a landfill? Because now I know they will search a landfill. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying when they do, usually it's because of a tip or something like that. Did they get a tip 10 days in? Possibly. We ain't being told about. You know, as far as we know the case, man, I don't know. I don't know. I don't see how I don't see how, I don't know how to put it. It makes me think, because we know there's like obviously video of the next morning, right? It makes me think nobody come in and out of there overnight, or they'd be looking for a car. John rides a short horse. What the hell does that mean? They have to have probable cause to search the landfill. That's what I'm saying, man. And they act like it was none of that. Sebastian is not our child. He's Seth's child. Yes, you're correct, Nick. You are correct. In a missing case, they should automatically check the landfills. Yes. Way earlier than 10 days, too. But they say now that they really map this stuff out well, like where stuff gets delivered. So I'm hoping that's a fact. I've always questioned that. How good are the records about where stuff's dumped? You know? Who knows, right? The Sebastian, I never put him in my titles, And it's like the one day I do, all the trolls come. That's interesting to me. And I haven't done, have I been out of pocket about Seth? I don't think I have. I've just stated the facts as they are. And it causes that much wildness, you know? Settle down, John. You are acting in a manner that is very unbecoming of your usual content. Don't tell a man in grief and despair how he should behave. I'm going to say a man in grief and despair at 2.5 months in to basically attack the 22-year-old on live stream is uncalled for. And I will stick by that. I like Trev. Trev's my buddy on YouTube. Trev's got one of the better hearts of anybody on YouTube. And I am shocked that with all the people that have wronged Seth, he's the one that he picks to take his anger out on. That bothers me. It's going to bother me. And you know, I'm sorry if people disagree with that. Thank you, not a drama on. Sometimes I forget that, man. Yeah. I'm gonna tell my opinion. I'm sorry. You know. And I'm not on here bashing the man. I'm on here saying, how is it fair to dig all through Katie Proudfoot's background and bring up, you know, what happened to her as a child, but to critique Seth on jumping on Trev, the guy that's really done a lot for Sebastian, a lot of positive shit. He ain't like Tony Mathis. He ain't just out here talking smack. Trev had done a lot more than most anyone else has. I guarantee you that. And attacking's wrong. It's ungrateful. It's bullshit. And I'm gonna call that out. I'm sorry. I would have shut the show down. I found it to be a shit show. See, I didn't watch it all, man. I just seen a clip of it and heard that there were other creators on there. But I was like, this is going to do me no good. I've seen enough to know how I feel about it. Now, I use the chance to address the nonsense to show Sebastian's picture and throw up the tip line. I'm not vain where I got to have it on me the whole time. If I'm going to talk about him, I have that up, you know. I want the kid found, but I'm not going to sit here and not comment on what happens on social media. That's kind of a lot of what I do. And when I see some bullshit like that, I'm calling it out. Yeah, if a lot of people get upset, I'm sorry, but you know, it's so just hypocritical to me when you know, anything against the people that you think is guilty, anything seems to be, there's no limits to it, right? I don't hear people saying, oh, you shouldn't say this about Chris, or you shouldn't say this about Katie. I never hear that, never see none of that. But the moment you point out something the other side's doing, and you know, I'm not gonna play that game. I'm not. You know, I really ain't. What else happened? Oh, y'all want to see the people who were here the other day are going to love this. Y'all remember the other day I was talking about they got a portal in like New York and Denmark or some craziness like that. And I told y'all, if you were here, I'm sure you remember, I was telling y'all, there's this portal set up where people can see other people in different countries live, and it's like you're at a mirror with them, like you're live right there with them. Is what it is set up like. It's really cool. And people have been doing weird stuff like showing bad videos on it and stuff like that, right? It was supposed to like be like a, for people to get to be together from faraway land type experience. But it's been getting abused a lot, right? This is what they was doing with it the other day. Ain't that wild? Talking about abusing it. That's what it's being used for. Did y'all see the ship be moved this morning? No, I did not. I thought that was hilarious. The portal's not working out like they had hoped. Well, there's a lot over the weekend, a lot of nonsense too. I'm telling you though, I'm starting to think that one lawyer quit because of it was either Tony or the new edition. I ain't sure which. I think it was. I don't know. The timing was right at Tony. I don't know how long this new person's been in the. Let me see. Did I have something? This is the one about they're talking about. Apparently, Seth's new member has I tell you what, if people want to help Seth out, they need to get Seth a new team because I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it. And it's what's really wild is how like this case, Sebastian's case, is compared to the Caleb Harris case that Tony Mathis is helping on that. Because here it seems like Tony's got Seth out there doing all kinds of wild shit. I don't think you see Caleb Harris's dad all over YouTube. So is it more of a I'm losing Tony's job now because I thought his was the real Seth in. Does anybody know? I'm sure one of y'all do. Was he the one filming the Trev thing? Because I only seen the clip, but I heard somebody say that. Do y'all know? If you know, let me know. People get angry about people not believing Seth is just weird, man. Nobody knows these people personally. That's what I'm saying too, man. A lot of people act like they know these people inside and out. I don't know them from Adam. I know them off what we've seen so far. I'm basing stuff off what I've seen. Okay? When people put themselves on social media, you can have an opinion on them. And he does it voluntarily. That whole stuff with Trev wasn't to talk about Sebastian missing. That was to talk about him wanting to scream and cuss at Trev. I don't get it, man. I really don't. I have compassion for people, okay? But when you keep doing stuff that's hurting the effort, I start questioning what you're all about. There is no way it could have been positive to try to run Trev off. I'll tell you that. That ain't gonna work out. And if he's that on edge, he needs to stay off social media. My question, my bigger problem is, though, he's hired a PR guy. Why ain't the PR guy doing something about this? If he can't really mean, or if Seth's not gonna comply, what is their relationship even for? Tony to spread misinformation? And I tell you, it's weird that Tony put out that stuff that turned out wasn't true. I'm not going to go over it. I just take my word for it. Tony put out a few things that were not true as fact. Nick Bears calls it out, and then Tony acts like the victim in it all. I don't like the way this thing smells. None of it. It's really weird to me. I'll never understand. And, now, mind you all, Tony has no training in none of this. This ain't what Tony does, okay? He started doing this with the Caleb Harrod case. That's when he got into this kind of thing. I don't think at this point, if that's I'm getting an application for PR manager, and I'm going, Caleb Harrod case. Sebastian Rogers. You're the dude handling that? So I'd say right now he's getting a big fat. We'll give him a B on the Caleb Harrod case. Okay, give him a B. He's got like an F- up to this point. Look for this child, including downtown Hendersonville. Yeah, we need to get this picture back up. Where are we at? I always use this one because it's got the tip line. It's got a great picture of him. The TBI. I prefer that one. I tell you, though, if you spot him, I think the rule should be if you spot him, you call 911 first. Wouldn't everybody agree with that? If you have an actual sighting of Sebastian, you don't call the tip line, you don't call TBI fine, you call 911 and be like, right here, right now. There's the repertoire. Somebody said that was his latest school one, I believe. You know, 84 days, I always felt like it's hard to count the day because I don't know if he went missing on the 25th or the 26th. Right? I thought about it. You know, Katie mentioned the third. What if? Because we don't know. I don't see how they could have got out the window without disturbing the bushes. It looked like you would have to have almost something. It would be really hard to get out that window over them bushes without leaving any sign of it. But what if the thud was like somebody coming in to help him out and they left right then and there? Who knows? The problem with that is there's nothing on the camera apparently. Right? So which way did he go then? Apparently there wasn't a car extremely close. And Sebastian had to leave barefoot. So when you look at it all together, who knows? I don't think it's possible, but who knows? I thought it was interesting too, the mention of it. It seems like I don't. It seems to me, I've always found it odd that you'd even mention that if I always question if there was a reason for mentioning that. I don't know if I would have. I mean, I don't know. I think if the last time I seen my kid when he went to bed, I would tell him what time he went to bed. I don't know if I'd bring up. I heard a little noise and he said he was fine because that was right after. You know, it seemed. You know what I'm saying? It's. I think I overanalyze stuff, but I thought it was odd that she didn't state that as the last time she seen him. She stated it as, you know, when he went to bed, but then she backs up and says the noise. So I don't know. I feel like if that was your last time, if you had that interaction, that would automatically stick with you as you knew he was good. Then it wouldn't be he went to bed, then be now, you know, that I mention it, minutes after he had went to bed, I heard this. It just seemed odd that and the last time you seen or heard him, why wouldn't that be the same story is what I guess I'm kind of getting at. It seems odd to me. Does that make sense to y'all? Like, it seems like the noise would always have been the last time she heard from him, right? It would have never been he went to bed. Oh, now, you know, I'm thinking there was a noise afterward, right? I don't know. And this is all fresh, too. It's not like you'd have to go way back because, you know, that morning when he's missing, boom, you want to lock in on what happened the night before. I think, right, that's going to become super important to you. It's not like you're being asked weeks later. You would have this shit. This would be fresh information. You won't have to recall anything. It just feels odd to me that the last time you heard from him wouldn't have always been the same time. Right? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Like, if I went to bed, I woke up, he was missing, I'd automatically think, when's the last time I heard from him? And I would remember that, and that would be the time. That's all I'm saying. I don't know. I think I overanalyze because I really like to see the young man found, you know. And I spend a lot of time thinking about what we do know because people get mad if you gossip too much. I've thought about this inside and out. I don't see how he walked out of there. I don't believe he walked out of there because, like I said, I do believe Seth's story about him stepping on the fire ants and he had the issue about having shoes on. So if he didn't need shoes to leave, it has to be something sinister. That's just the way I see it, you know. I love this question. I swear every time, and I appreciate you asking it because I think it is interesting. Why no 911 call? I have two theories on that. Okay? I have two theories on that. A lot of people say Chris has a relative that works for the sheriff's department. If that is the case, you could see that is he wanted to contact them because he knew they would take him seriously, that Sebastian was missing right off the bat and start looking at him. Possibly. Nah, it's weird. See, I try to devil's advocate that. It's weird that you don't call 911. It's weird. What's really weird to me is you're reporting missing to somebody that's 3.5 hours away and can't do a GD thing for you before you call 911. I mean, I don't know if she thought calling him, he was all of a sudden going to be like, well, did you look blah, blah? And she's like, oh, yeah, I didn't look there. I always thought it was weird. You call somebody that can't do shit for you at that time before you call 911. Right? Now, like I said, I would like to know from somebody that knew Katie that would be honest enough to answer what kind of talker Katie was. Okay? If she was like uber shy or something like that. Or if I would really like to understand her personality. You know, to me, it doesn't scream emergency when the order isn't 911, then whoever. Okay? Would that make sense to y'all? I'd like to hear that call. Did they report him as a runaway right away? Tina, to be honest, I have no idea. I don't, where they didn't call 911, I guess there's not like a 911 recording. I don't know if you get the sheriff's recording line or not. You know what I'm saying? In fairness, I might have called my man first. I'm sure he would have told me to hang up and call 911. Yeah, in fairness now, like I say, I try to be open-minded about shit. In fairness, there's a chance Brandy would have called me too. But I don't know. I don't know. Well, no, I'm not going to swear to that because I feel like if she really thought, man, she'd probably call me first. I would find it. I don't know, man. I find it weird that it was like this co-call they describe it as, you know. We need to throw out our opinions because other people will pick it apart, and that helps. That's true, man. If you have a theory, throw it out there and let people just chomp at that thing, and then you'll be like, okay. That's how you can work on your theory. Because I'm telling you, nothing fits this really in my mind. What keeps coming back to me is I feel like he'd have been wearing shoes if he voluntarily left. I hate to say that, but I really do. If they reported him as a runaway, that is why the search didn't start for 7 days. That's interesting you bring that up. If he would have left a note, they wouldn't even be looking for him. Think about that. Whitney Hatfield, Google her name. If you haven't heard of her, she was 16 years old. She left a note, and because of that, apparently some stranger can come pick up your 16-year-old daughter and never see her again, and they don't think that's an emergency. She went missing 10 days after Sebastian Rogers, and I bet most of you probably never heard her name. Whitney Hatfield. Look it up. And I tell you what, I hear the vigil. Was it Saturday? They had a thing for Sebastian over the weekend, a ride and all this stuff, and they say it was excellent. Said attendance was unbelievable. Now, I don't think people are forgetting about him. I don't think it's dying down anytime soon. Whoever is responsible, if he's not a runaway, which, you know, we can't say we know that he isn't. It seems at this point he'd be pulling it off really, really well. I think Whitney's grandma probably loved to have them talking about anything as long as they was talking about her granddaughter. Why isn't law enforcement begging the public for help? You know, I wonder about that kind of. That's a good point. I always wonder when these cases are like Sebastian's, like, you know, the public outrage and shit's out there. Right? You know, people are looking for this kid. They want him found. You know, people are constantly, where's Sebastian? What's going on with the case? I hope, because it's huge on social media, I hope they're getting some of this pressure inward, because, I mean, they really need to at least give us a statement, at the very least, and tell us what we are doing in order to solve this matter. Just something. I'm not telling us you have to divulge the case. Just tell us something. Don't be sorry, John. You're speaking your thoughts and opinions. You're entitled to your opinions just like the rest of us. Well, thank you. I'm not sorry. It's just, it angers me that people act like because you critique somebody on their behavior because of who they are, that you're a bad person. And I just say, if you keep putting yourself out there on social media and YouTube, I'm going to keep commenting. I'm sorry. You know? Especially when you're doing craziness. I think the next step is, man, and I kept thinking maybe that's what Seth's backwards plan was to somehow create more awareness in Sebastian's case by doing just crazy oddball shit. But you cannot explain to me now, like his last few moves can lead you down that road. Too many drama now, taking the focus off Sebastian. I swear, I thought about it. I'm like, what should they be doing? And I'm like, if they're still refusing to consider this a criminal thing where they're investigating that, at least go up north and search. North of that neighborhood, it looks like, is on Google Maps. You can see it's expansive and it's thick. Okay? Because if he did run away under the circumstances that we've been provided, he ran away barefoot, without anything, any equipment, clothes, anything. Unless he had help, he couldn't have made it that far, especially without shoes. How far do you realize how horrible it'd be to walk through the woods without shoes? Cody wouldn't hear someone leave out any door, but can hear a thud. Well, she says that's what she said. Says she heard a thud. Now, I don't know. And see, that's why the intruder theory to me is just bullshit out the window. I can't even consider that. They had little dogs too, man. You know how a little dog is. Damn, little dog will bark at anything. They're worse than big dogs. And you had 2 of them, and no sign of forced entry, no sign of nothing. You got 2 options. Katie did something. He ran away. Those are your 2 options. It's one or the other, and it probably ain't both. Well, I guess it could be both. A lot of people go back to Katie and Seth. And I'm telling you, if you read the court papers, now this woman swore all this in court. If she was scared enough of Seth, would she have hid Sebastian? We know their relationship apparently is very bad because you never, ever see them at the same place at the same time. I'm thinking it's probably as bad, or if you read the papers, I think Tiffany Marie even had a video somebody shared with me that read through the divorce papers. If you've heard that or seen that, you will know she had a lot of wild, weird stuff to say. She says Seth would come in the room and get buck naked for apparently no reason in front of Sebastian and her. That is such an odd thing to say. And she didn't just say it, she swore to it. All of that. She said that. She said that, what else did she say? Just weird. The thing about it, if you hear it and you check it out, is the thing she said just seemed weird to make up. You would think you would make up different shit. Like she says at one point that Seth would whip him with the belt, but wouldn't, like he wasn't hitting him on the butt because of whatever. I guess he was trying to hit him on the butt, but he was hitting him everywhere with the belt. That's what she says. And she says that he smacked him in the head once. And like he has the condition where that could be really bad if he took a blow to the head. She says that in the court. She says a lot, under oath. Now it's a divorce. Who knows? Seth's the stay-at-home dad. She's the Navy mom. It was kind of a wild story, right? And I don't know, man. I don't know. Seth, what? And I guess this is the way the law works, but if you've seen the document, it's weird because, like, Seth makes a rebuttal, and he says, like, I didn't do this, and then to everyone, but if I did, it wouldn't be grounds for divorce, the way his part reads. And I was like, or wouldn't be grounds for a restraining order, because Katie was trying to get like a lifetime one, apparently. Apparently their split up was pretty epic. It seems like it was highly heated, But when it comes down to it, man, Seth is not a suspect, okay, in my mind. I don't see how, with his alibi from work and the situation, he could have been involved. So let's make that clear. I still think Katie is got to be the number one suspect. Because like I said, you got, according to Katie herself, you've got 2 options. Katie did something to him. He ran away. And I just think at 85 days, that each day it seems more unlikely because that would be another day. He would be somehow evading everybody. I don't know. I don't know. But see, everybody treats like this CPS stuff like it's a big deal. I don't know what is in all the CPS paperwork. I'm not going to pretend like I do, and nobody else should either. But it makes you think, if it was that bad, he would have been removed from the home. You know? And if it wasn't, was there enough, like, were there signs that maybe Sebastian would do something like this? Without, and you know, a lot, you can speculate all you want on the DCS reports. We don't know exactly what it was. But if there was a lot of it, that makes you think the chances of him wanting to run away could have been better, right? What's weird is, though, to think the thud she heard was the last thing she heard. You would think then he wouldn't have answered after the thud if it was him going out the window or something like that. So could somebody have come in and got him out without her hearing any of that? But she heard a thud. I got so many questions about how it's possible. But then you got to ask yourself, well, okay, if it was Katie, something happened at the end, after all their outing and all that, after they got home, how could she possibly have gotten rid of him by herself? It seems like it would be awfully hard, and it seems like there would damn sure be evidence of her going in or out at some point, right? Gotta be. There's no way that she's left there without police seeing something leave. So then you got to think, she didn't leave till the next morning. And hopefully somebody can help me with this, because I got a question. If she didn't leave until the next morning when they say she went out and searched, and I hope somebody knows the answer to this, was the car parked in the garage? Does anybody know? Does anybody know the answer to that? Or was the car parked outside of the garage all night? I'd love to know that. Because now that I'm thinking about it, man, there's only so many possibilities as to how that he could have got out of that house. They said it was parked in the garage, misdemeanor. Yes, in the garage. Okay. Now that tells you that's one thing that has to line up for being able to get him out of the house. If it would have been out on the street, and was it daylight at 6:30? Regardless. With the car in the garage, that's one of them things for her to have gotten him out of there without it being seen that would have to happen, and it happened, right? Car was in the garage. They have video of her driving at the high school. See, I know she went out and did, like they said, like a search, right? Somebody described it as a Starbucks run, said it wasn't much. So she's at this point, when she gets back from that, I'm assuming is when, I wonder if that when she calls 911, or does she call 911 before she goes on the drive? Does anybody know that? It almost seems like if it was her, right, that has to be the point in when she done something with him. So I think you go, and damn it seems like it would be hard for her to have went back relatively soon to have moved him. So I think the best thing to do would be find out how long that drive was that morning. If we could nail that down, right? If you can figure it, figure out her trip that day, search that radius in, you'd find Sebastian. If she's responsible, right? But, I mean, you basically have two options, though. He ran away or Katie's responsible. And I say all that because you can't explain to me how he got out of that house without help and her not noticing, none of that. And nothing with you. Evidence and facts are what matters, not hearsay. Thank you, Chopper. Thanks for keeping us straight. Appreciate it. Yes, we need the timestamps on when she left and returned on that ring cam and pulled in and out of that driveway. See, that would give you if you're leaning toward the she has something to do with it, that is going to be the most important piece of evidence, because if they see him coming in that night, that has to be when she took him out, I would think. Unless, no, because I'm thinking after she called 911, the cops searched that house then, so it had to probably be right then and there. She could have only went so far. Okay, the call was made while she was out driving because on the dispatch, she was told to return home to meet the police at the home. Wow. See, though, if that's true, they should be able to, I guarantee you they could tell you damn near exactly where she was at when a lot of that was called. Well, that was the sheriff's department, right? Ring cam saw him taking out the trash, so you know it's going to see the car coming and going. See, and I've questioned that. That tells me if the ring cam picked him up good enough to tell it was him taking out the trash, how wouldn't none of them cameras picked him up any other time if he left that house? Now, Chris told her to get home, that police were on their way. But see, that if the story, though, of how short, because that was supposedly, from what I've heard, not a long trip when she left that morning. If that's true, then you got to have, it makes me think you got to have an accomplice. Or wherever he took him, he's still there, and he's not far from that house. With all the searching going on, that's what's so confusing about this, because it doesn't make perfect sense that she did it that way, but that's the only way she could have done it. That's why I say I'm not 100% sure she did something, but the only way she could have done it was if she took him out that morning, okay, and somehow got him far enough away in a short period of time and got back, and he hasn't been found from there. It's hard to understand. Katie admitted he took out the trash, didn't she, during one of the interviews? Yeah, I'm not sure about that, but I don't, to me, because that was earlier in the timeline, I mean, it helps us know what last time she's claiming he was with us, right? We know that evening, and you know, I think I don't think there's no question in my mind that evening. Well, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not confident enough to what about that footage to know that I have trouble with any time past, I think, the restaurant. What if she transferred him to another vehicle? Okay, but then what? That's what I'm saying. It's so hard. It makes you think there would have to have been an accomplice. And I tell you, man, the way, if you look through the court papers and stuff, it's not, I don't think it should be out of anybody's possibility that she wouldn't have possibly handed him off. She wouldn't have possibly handed Sebastian off to somebody over seeing him return to Seth. I think that's still a possibility too. That would make, actually, that's, to me, seems more likely than she dumped him somewhere that close to home and they haven't found him. Then they transferred him somewhere else. See, that's the path I'm kind of on now. I don't know, man. I am so confused by, you know, only thing I feel pretty confident about is no matter what happened, he didn't walk out of that house the way it's said. He didn't leave with no shoes on his own, and we haven't seen him since. You'll never convince me of that. That's where the theory comes to Mom, Kathy at the store next to the school for the exchange. See, I mean, I almost like that better than she did something to him, because it would be easier to explain how he hasn't been found yet. You know, is it that morning took him out? And you never know. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe she had worked on turning him against Seth and talked him into it. You know, who knows? Had him hiding for her. I don't know. I think it is a distinct possibility, though, that she exchanged him or handed him off or something. Finding Kaylee Anthony that close is what makes me believe Summer is close to home, because of the area Kaylee was found was searched and she had been there the whole time. See, that's why, you know, I'm big about searching. I think you should search the woods north of his house. If people are out searching, I'd find out who owns that. That's where I would be focusing the search on. Because I'm sorry, you're not going to convince me he was walking around town. That only leaves one more option. That's the only way, to me, you can get out of that neighborhood without being seen on camera. And you'd have a hard time. It wouldn't be as bad at night, possibly. But if you're searching, to me, that's your only option, is to go north. Right? To me, it's your only option. There's no way he went south down to, because there's a big road down there at the bottom, houses all around. The only way he could have made it any significant distance without being spotted by tons of people would have been up in the wooded area north. I hope that law enforcement went back and searched the neighbor's crawl space that was locked from the outside. That's a John Bonet mishap if they didn't. You know what? I thought about that too, and I've even seen, it wasn't too long ago, where they had found a kid that was missing in a chimney. He had climbed into some abandoned house and got stuck in the chimney and died there. Looked for him for a long time too. Have y'all ever heard that story? I can't remember the name, or I would reference you to it. All right, guys, that's all I got today. I I might be here tomorrow. I don't know. If not, I'll definitely be back Wednesday. I got some shit to do. Appreciate everybody for coming. Thanks to everybody. I don't care if people come in and want to, talk a little smack, as long as you're not uber disrespectful. You have a different opinion. You want to stand up for your guy. That's cool with me, man. We can agree to disagree. But I appreciate everybody for coming. Thanks to all the mods, all the guys in the rewatch gang that's going to check this out later. Everybody hit that thumbs up. Smack that bad boy. I'm tired of not getting no thumbs up. That's some bullshit. And I'll see y'all either tomorrow or Wednesday, 9 a.m. sharp. Have a good Monday.